Okay. Hello, boys and girls! This is actually an important video. I know there's not another YouTube video out there like this, so I like to keep things simple. And by the way, I have 3 links below for you to take a look at. Well, there are 9 different categories of NIKKOR 300mm 2.8 lenses. There are really only 7. And of those 7, 2 are the same. The AIS 300mm 2.8, which I have right here. There we go. That's actually the AIS NIKKOR 300mm 2.8. There are a couple to avoid, and there's a couple statements to be made. Whoops, excuse me. A couple statements to be made about these lenses, so please click the link below, and I also have serial number ranges for these different types of lenses. So we really have the AIS in one category. Secondly, I used to have one of these. I don't have it anymore. It's the slowest autofocusing lens. This AFD lens is the reason why a lot of people switched to Canon back in the day in the late 1980s, because while this lens is like optically perfect, it is just slower than piss. But as a lens for portraiture, which 300mm is extremely well suited for, you don't need speed. So everything is a consideration based upon what the hell it is you need. Obviously you need something fast for sports, action, wildlife. That certainly isn't a choice. So let's make some statements here. Specifically, by the way, all of these have ranged between 6 elements, and then there was an 8 element between the EDIF or the AIS version all the way through the AFN version. So we've gone 6 elements, immediately went to 8, and it's been 11 elements since like the AFS version, which is right where? Yeah, here's the AFS version. This is the VR1 version right here. They stopped making this in 2009, as it was. There we go. There's only a couple minor differences between this VR1 version, 300mm 2.8 NIKKOR, and the VR2 version. One being is a stop better of vibration reduction, vibration control. However, most people say that they can't notice a difference. I've tested both back and forth, and I actually can't notice a difference. The only difference that I have noticed is that the VR is more responsive, it's less noisy, and it's less jumpy. But the ultimate difference is one stop better vibration reduction. There is also an additional frou-frou switch for tripod mounted vibration reduction, which who gives a crap about that? Totally useless. Both of them are nano coated. New lens is what? New is what, $6,000 some dollars? This is the VR1 version, which averages used now for about $2,800. The AFS version, which is this one, the AFS version made between 1996 and 2004. This, by the way, and like I said, I have images for all these lenses below, is the first actual fast. This has a true ring ultrasonic motor in it. The first true fast autofocus 300mm 2.8 NIKKOR. This averages about $1,500 to $1,800. This one's actually in excellent condition. It's typified. It's very standout-ish, since a lot of these kind of look alike and people have a hard time telling them apart, which is why I included these images here. Since there's ultimately 8 300mm 2.8s, like I said, but really only 7, and of those 7, the 2 are basically the same, which would be the AIS, then ultimately we have 6 different lenses to distinguish from here. The VR version 2, piss waste of money. Let's keep it short and simple. The VR1 version, which is right here. The AFS version, the true first AFS, which is this lens right here. So I have respectively the VR1 version here, AFS version here. Scroll over to the older lenses. Whoops, went the wrong direction again. The older lenses. Now this is a lens you don't want to buy. You'll notice it is typified by this notch recess where these AF buttons, these assignable AF buttons, you could use them as memory buttons or autofocus on buttons. You notice that they're recessed on the AFI version, you never frigging buy this lens no matter how much it costs, because there's no parts to fix it. When it breaks, you're screwed. You're just out of luck. So if it breaks, well, I'm going to send it in to get it fixed. No, you're not. Nobody has any parts anymore. So no, someone might have a broken lens somewhere that you can salvage the parts from, but you don't buy that lens. It's not worth it. Right after that, this is the first autofocus version. I call this the AFD version, which is really what it should be called. It's noticeable by the shiny little button that lets you switch between manual and autofocus. It's a shiny push button. Same thing found on like the modern 60mm 2.8 NIKKOR. This is the AFD version. It's a very slow frigging lens. Slow. So if you're planning on using it for sports action wildlife, no. I mean, for light photojournalism and for portraiture, this is the first optically basically perfect 300mm 2.8. Now all of these, whether it be a 6-element version, an 8-element version, or the 11-element, by the way, these two are 11-element versions, this is a 6-element version, they're all optically perfect. The bokeh is perfect, the micro contrast is incredible. All of these lenses, all of the 300 2.8 NIKKORs, optically, as far as what the hell they spit out on the sensor, or in film, nobody uses film anymore. That's going to piss somebody off. Good. All of these lenses are exquisite. As long as the optics are good on them, they're all absolutely excellent. All of them. Like I said, the one lens you don't want to buy, and maybe another, you need to ask yourself what the hell it is you're shooting. If you're doing sports action wildlife, you wouldn't obviously consider the AIIS, which is this lens, manual focus lens. By the way, the AFS version, the first AFS version, from 1996 to 2006, this is the most obnoxiously heavy broad of all the 300mm 2.8s. Additionally so, and amazingly, even though this is the older version, the first version, the VR version number 1, it actually weighs in, what is it? Yeah, 0.05 kilograms less than the VR version 2. So the newer version, VR 2, is actually heavier than this one. Nikon's actually got a history of doing that, especially like, for example, the 24-70 2.8 VRG2. Yeah, the VRG. Yeah, the VRG, excuse me. The GVR, excuse me, there we go. Because the old 24-70 is a non-VR. Had a brain fart there, excuse me. So many hundreds and hundreds of lenses in my head. I never forget, but sometimes I stumble. Here's a list of the serial number ranges. So the only lenses really to avoid are absolutely the AFI version. Please note the recess for the AF on button. Don't even want to think about buying that lens. And it's slow autofocus. Like I said, the first true fast autofocus 300mm 2.8 is this sucker from 1996 through 2004. This lens of VR version 1 is from 2004 to 2009. And of course the new version, VR2, which is none the damn better, weighs just a hair more, has one additional stop of VR, so what? It's the exact same frigging optics. You know, I consider, unless you just love pissing your money away unnecessarily, don't buy the VR version 2, the VR2. Why on earth would you spend, upwards of the upper $5,000 for that thing when you can get one of these for, I said these average between $2,800, depending on the condition, between $2,800 and, $3,000. They all have different lenses. They started with a 52mm insertable filter. By the way, this is where you actually place your polarizing filter. Really, you don't put a filter in them at all. No one ever puts filters in these. Sometimes people use an ND filter or a polarizer, but here's a little filter rack, and it's the same on all of these, except these are 39mm, and the newer ones are starting with the AF, not as the AFS version 2. These are 39mm, and this one's a 52. You slide it out here, you can see. We have just a standard AR-coated clear 52mm filter, which Nikon will tell you and recommends keeping in the lens. Here we go. Let me know if you have any questions on the 300mm Nikkors. What was I going to say? I think I was going to say something about the lens hoods on these. Yeah. No, not the lens hoods. The cases, yeah, the VR version 1 and VR version 2 come with, what is this, the CL5? I think that's a Nikon designation for this case. The older ones actually came with a circular tube case. This is a $250. It's actually a really nice embroidered case made in Japan. Even a used one of these will bring $250. So if you buy the lens, try to always buy one. There'll never be a difference in price. But if you could find one that actually has the case with it, buy it, because if you feel like you don't absolutely need it, then you could peddle it off for $250, and it will always sell instantly on eBay. I guess that's it. Like I said, check the links below. Let me know if you have any questions, and like I said, optically, all of these are exquisite. The first optically perfect, or basically perfect, is the AFD version. Everything after that's also optically perfect. And the best VR to buy, unless you just love throwing your money away, would be the VR1. If you don't need VR, and most people actually don't when they think they do, because these lenses are so damn heavy, they're meant to be used via monopod, which is how I use them anyway. You don't need VR, and so your best bet is actually get the first AFS version, which is this one made between 1996 and 2001, which averages, what is it, about, I forgot to check the going rate on it. Averages about $1,500 going rate. I've seen them as low as $1,300 recently, and pretty good condition. They actually average about $1,800. They average. All of these are really good shape, good condition, 300 2.8. So there we go with the most elaborate and detailed video on Nikon's mini variegated frigging 300mm 2.8 lenses. If you like this video, you could always drop a donation, because I am not a shill and I don't have affiliate links, so anything and everything helps. And I answer emails and phone calls, and so yeah, there we go. Happy New Year, all that stuff. Bye.